renewable hydrogen is really the missing link that we now have to bring renewables everywhere in sectors where renewables could usually not go with electrification. So this is a very important solution, and for the very first time we have a systemic solution allowing us to move away from fossil fuels and decarbonize those sectors that cannot benefit from renewable-based electrification. Of course, when it comes to the sectors that should be using hydrogen, we always have to look at where using that limited resource in this early phase makes most sense. And I'll tell you why I think renewable hydrogen is the obvious choice, because this is the sense of your question. This is the only way forward, basically. And this is not me saying it, but many stakeholders, the European Commission defines it this way. This is the most compatible solution with the goal of climate neutrality, the zero pollution goals as well on the more longer term, and the most coherent with the integrated energy system strategy. Other stakeholders also invest or start investing, announcing big investments in renewable hydrogen. We see an incredible number of industrial players choosing renewable hydrogen for its benefits. And this is proven by the continuously increasing number of projects being announced at the moment. But I'll tell you why, from an investor perspective, finally, renewable hydrogen is so important. Of course, you do not release CO2 in the production phase, which is a big difference with blue hydrogen or gray hydrogen. And we know that the carbon capture rates aren't perfect, 50, 60% perhaps for traditional technology. You also don't have the methane leakage upstream in the value chain, which is also a big concern where you are an industrial player trying to manufacture products that are clean. So from that perspective, you don't bear the cost of the associated carbon that lies with your hydrogen color, if I may say. So economically speaking, you secure long-term competitiveness there. You protect your business from surging natural gas prices, which are heavily embedded in the price of blue hydrogen. Same for the offsetting of emission prices, through the cost of carbon. So renewable hydrogen there is really a solution to that as well for those companies trying to become more competitive over the longer term. And I would bring another dimension as well economically. This is about also securing first mover advantage in products that are sustainably manufactured and produced. And the great news, I think, is that renewable hydrogen is going to be cheaper, much faster than we expect. Every now and then we have studies saying that renewable hydrogen is going to become more competitive earlier than the previous one, and in some countries in the next coming years, and not even in 2030. And this is linked to many different things. The increasingly stricter policies to tackle climate change. Companies are looking to move away from fossil energy. They want to defossilize. The increasing cost of carbon is also a very new but very important element factored in by investors, I think. The electricity, and most importantly, the cost reduction prospect for electrolysers technologies. If you apply that thinking to the technology of blue hydrogen, for example, I don't think the prospect for cost reduction is the same. SMR, steam methane reformation, is a mature technology, but with the cost reduction prospects being different, but perhaps not as evident as electrolysers. CCS is also not expected to see the cost reduction that fast. And anyway, the reduction cost over the total price of blue hydrogen would be limited if you reduce the cost of your CCS equipment. And the scale is also a point. You need to go big to make sure you are profitable. And when you start a new business, the modular approach is probably more secure or safer, and that's where the electrolysers have a very strong advantage for those willing to invest. So I think these perspectives are very important when you think of investing in hydrogen. And that's why I think renewable hydrogen does have all the benefits there. And that's very important to understand when you are an investor, because no investor, no company wants to sit there with an asset that looked good at the time and is now out of money and renders uncompetitive by the operating costs that are higher than prices on the market. So I think this is important to understand, and that these are really important dimensions to take into account, and why renewable hydrogen is the obvious choice, simply.